Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We'll take a look at the dollar, yields, precious metals, and then the commodities that I follow. And I'll give you my financial opinion. If you guys need any help with the commodity sector or just investing in general, definitely check out finding-value.com. Look at the platinum membership. Use the word discount in the coupon code to get a discount. We'll be releasing the midweek update this week on what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing in the markets, and I'll post it up today. So let's dive in here. This is DXY. DXY is basically flat today. We've had a lot of volatility here. Generally speaking, kind of what I'm seeing here is this thing was ready to basically move higher here, and we got disrupted these 2 days there and got pushed a little bit lower. Now, which direction is this thing going to go here? Are we going to continue to head lower, or is this thing going to try to put in a bottom or head higher? That's really what I think the markets are trying to figure out right now, is where is this thing going to go, and what is the relative strength of the dollar versus the yen and all of the issues perhaps that are going on in other people's bond markets. If they try to save bond markets, generally the currencies get weaker. And this here is a measurement of, we'll say, relative strength of currencies. And right now we're seeing lots of volatility. If you could have chopped this portion off over here, I would have guessed this thing was going higher. But it reversed, went lower in the short term, and we'll see how sustaining that is over the next week. The 10-year yield is dropping to the downside, down 4.47%. It is dropping and breaking out of a support level where I think yields will continue to drop further. So this started basically coming up, and we broke this trend line here. That's step number one right there. That's that broken trend line. We did a return move upward. That's what the top is there. That's the end of that return move. And we've gotten large selling pressure, big kind of candlesticks all throughout here. And that does signal to me that we could potentially head lower in the short term and maybe even the medium term. Now, we've had a monster move and a breakout of here, and we very well could come all the way back to this general vicinity or somewhere in that vicinity for yields. What does that mean? Higher bond prices, lower yields in the short term. Lower yields will also help the housing market for whenever they're low. So that will also be a little bit more supportive for the housing market than what we've had with these really high rates. The 10-year yield is very closely linked to mortgage rates. Now, TLT, this is bond prices. This moves inversely to yields. So the price of bonds, more than likely in the short term, is going to go higher. Now, I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to be a long-term move. So this here is basically a shoulder, head, shoulder, topping pattern. It may come back up to do like a larger return move, and then I think could perhaps roll over again. Obviously, I'm speculating on that, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. Daily movements, this still has the momentum upward for bond prices in the short term. TYX down 2.83% on the 30-year yield. So what we saw was the 10-year yield fell more than the 30-year yield. This one hasn't broken out yet for a move lower, but more than likely it probably will happen. We're starting to see larger selling pressure movements through here, more so than the buying pressure. So that naturally is kind of a distribution type movement where people are selling, or I should say accumulating bonds, yields going lower. That's what I should say. And we are seeing that yields weakening. So that 30 to 10-year yield, when this goes up, generally speaking, precious metals do well under those conditions, especially if the dollar falls as well. But we had a flat dollar with weaker yields. I would have guessed higher precious metals prices, but they were rocketing in the beginning of the day, and then they got dumped on, selling pressure dump today. And I don't know if that was on purpose. I have no idea. I'm not claiming to know that, but the general market conditions here were good for precious metals to go higher in. Commodities down 0.4% today. not too bad. And we're right at that resistance line again, that long-term resistance line. It's this blue line where we've had, good resistance support in that area. We've hit it there, hit it here, hit it there, hit it a bunch through here, hit it back there. So there is a lot of resistance at this spot that we're at. And that's what it's doing. It's providing resistance to go back through it. And we're just stuck there at this time, right on that resistance support line. Looking at the CRB to S&P 500, up quite a bit today, so that support level is holding. And remember, I'm just putting this line here. It's a general vicinity in this general ballpark of where support happens, and it's that support is created by the buyers and sellers buying and selling at certain price points. And obviously, we've got support over here as well with a bunch of buying and selling. So it's all in that general vicinity. But we were higher today in the ratio favorable for commodities versus the S&P 500. Gold, slightly down today. I still think this looks absolutely excellent. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the characteristics of the candlesticks. From this point on, this is a bunch of big green candlesticks, and the selling pressure hasn't really been much. So it's really been muted for selling pressure. I know that we had a pretty big up day earlier in the day, but it reversed back down. So momentum-wise, yeah, it's down a little bit, but the sellers didn't really stomp on this. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't come in here and push it to the downside, but right now, it still looks very good. Think of it as one up movement candlestick, and it took 3 down movements of selling pressure to get roughly, it's not even the same amount of distance traveled. So it's taken a lot more work, and the sellers aren't doing that great of a job. But that's what we've got there. I still think this could go higher to the upside. Silver, down a little bit today. It's getting a little bit more selling pressure. Actually, this candlestick did finish quite strong. It was a pretty strong reversal day today. This could come back down more to the downside. But gold's looking, gold's holding up quite well, and silver got a little bit more selling pressure today. Platinum, basically flat. We're doing a full return move. This thing looked really good in the morning. It was way up. And it was way up because of those conditions that I'm talking about with yields going down and the yield curve uninverting to some degree. And the dollar was down too early morning. The dollar came raging back, and then yields were basically the same. And things kind of reversed throughout the day with precious metals. We're still at support. Everything still looks all right. It's not a huge selling pressure day, but the momentum is to the downside. We'll see what happens the rest of this week. XEU to gold ratio, slightly lower, but we're still above support. And, it doesn't look that bad. Let me back out here, get a little bit bigger picture view for everybody so you guys can see what's going on a big picture view. Momentum is still, hopefully this thing updates. Yeah, momentum's still to the upside. So we've got these higher lows. We're coming up into this resistance line that I drew. We had lots of buying and selling pressure all in this general vicinity here, all over the place, that we're coming into that resistance. But overall, we have to break this big downtrend line. If we can break up and get above that, I think we'll do some cool stuff for the miners. So GDX, yeah, slightly down today, just like the precious metals themselves. Maybe we do a little bit of a retest down here. Very much possible, but still looks pretty good. Broken downtrend here, sideways, and we're starting to move higher. I don't see too much of a squeezing pattern or anything, so still looks all right. SILJ getting a little bit more selling pressure. We can see we've got, not even going to try to freehand draw this, but there's a little support resistance line through here. We'll see if we close below that tomorrow or if we get like a stick save, but we're also at support going across this way as well. So I think we'll get support right generally where it's at, and we'll see if we can reverse and turn higher. It is a strong momentum down day in this, and it did close quite strong. So the momentum on the short term is down with some good pressure. Crude oil was looking great this morning, but it looks like it turned quite rapidly. This is a bearish engulfing. We could head a little bit lower in the short term. Much like this one here, you can see that we had a little bit more selling pressure, and it kind of leaked higher. A little bit of, selling pressure there. And today, we just got sellers stepped in. They pushed it down a little bit. We could see a short-term pullback in oil and maybe even some of the equities as well. It was a strong reversal today. Natural gas also selling off quite strong today. It looks like we could see further downside. This thing has not bottomed yet. I do not see a bottoming candlestick pattern yet, but we are coming up. Okay, we've got good, strong selling pressure. This could drop even further than where we are today. We've got lots of momentum behind this, lots of selling pressure. XOP, yeah, you know me, down 1.95%. We did get a little bit more selling pressure today, pretty strong reversal. And I do expect this to maybe even come back a little bit in the short term. OIH, energy service companies, also getting some strong selling pressure today. We saw strong selling pressure here, just like this in the pullback. We leaked back higher, and we got another big hit on our head there. So we're seeing more selling pressure in energy service companies, but we are right on that support level. So they're right there trying to break through that resistance support level is what we call it, and we're getting that resistance right now. We'll see what happens the rest of this week, if we can break higher or if we have to loop down and do another loop again before heading higher, which is a possibility. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust also getting some selling pressure, down 2.4%. There's your selling pressure. Again, I noticed that this was a bearish engulfing that usually ends lower. We got our selling pressure today. So in the short term, the momentum is still to the downside for the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. URNM, okay, so the sellers came out and we've got a little bit more selling pressure. We might pull back in the short term a little bit. Again, this is very short term, very short-sighted of what we're looking at in terms of this. Now, bigger picture view, we've broken this shorter term. Let me go to the weeklies here. We've broken this shorter term downtrend there. We may pull back a little bit, and then we might try to break this longer term, bigger picture view. But it might take some time. You know, we're squeezing up in the corner here. It may take some time. It could even take all the way out to March of 2023 if it wants to grind sideways for a while. So that's what we're seeing. Looking at TAN's still right up against that resistance line. It's just hugging right on top of it. That's where it is. Bam. Now, are we going to get rejected off this and head back lower? Or are we going to try to break through? One thing I look at is, what are these lows doing? These lows are stepping up. So let's see where this thing goes. Do we come back or do we break out? That's yet to be determined, but it still looks good for a break higher. And then long-term view, it looks excellent for a break and move higher, for maybe potentially a much higher move if the overall markets cooperate. So COPX, this is our copper ETF. It's up 0.55%, one of the few that were up today. There's our double bottom there. We zoom in on the dailies, and we did get a reversal candlestick. Today, it was up a lot in the morning, and it did reverse and head up a lot lower throughout the day. The momentum is heading lower. We still finished in the green, but the momentum is lower in the short term for copper. Still looks good, though, and we do have a wick at the top here. A lot of the times you get these wicks at the top. They get a pullback, and then it consolidates, and we run again. So we might be entering a little bit of a pullback consolidation period for copper. And this has had a very big run here. This is a pretty big run for a one continuous kind of run. Well, we had a little bit of a flag pattern there, but it's still looking all right. Lithium, right on support, resistance. That's kind of where we're settling out, and we'll see if that holds. We've got rare earth metals that are also getting a little bit of selling pressure. Maybe we pull back to support for rare earth metals, and that's that big support level that we've got running across everything. That's that big support level there. And we're just holding on to that support right now. The S&P 500 getting smacked down today. You know, I was asking, are we going to break out or are we going to break lower? And today, it looks like we're getting a lot of selling pressure here today, and it's breaking potentially to the downside here, where that is acting as resistance. So we could see a little bit more selling pressure. Maybe the buyers step in here in the short term and kick it up and push it to the upside. But right now, the sellers are in control, and they pushed it lower. They're holding that resistance line, and they finished quite strong. Momentum to the downside. Same thing happened with the U.S. Composite Index with a bearish engulfing, momentum coming to the downside, and we could see further downside in the short term. unless these buyers come in and show up and say, hey, look, we're pushing this thing higher. The lower yields and the flat dollar were actually conducive for stocks to move higher in. And what we're seeing is continued weakness and selling pressure. So we could see a pullback in the short term. Emerging markets also seeing that selling pressure, bearish engulfing, that generally resolves itself to the downside. So that's emerging markets there with that reversal candlestick today. We've got XHB, which also has a couple of reversal candlesticks. This is a bullish one here and a bearish one there. It's fighting between the buyers and sellers right at this resistance line. And there's that line I've got going across here that we're trying to break to the upside, but unsuccessful today of trying to break that line and really hold above it. We're just right on top of it. Mu is also selling off a little bit. We're right on support. That's the support level of all these hits all through here that we've got in history. We've got copper. Copper has a reversal candlestick as well. That's why the wick's at the top. Copper looked like it shot out of the gates like, it was moving. And I was like, man, maybe we are going to run higher. But that did reverse throughout the day. We did put a big wick at the top. This might come back a little bit in the short term. And we'll see what those candlesticks look like if it were to pull back. Lumber also pulling back a little bit, but overall still looks really strong. These are two small little days. They're bloody nose days. Generally, those continue to the upside. Iron ore, this one hasn't been updating. I'm going to skip that. Nickel. So let's go to the line charts. Nickel's been kind of dragging lower. This is 18th of January. So it looks like it's trying to put in some sort of bottom here. I did put in this. Let me move this out of here. It's my drawing. So that's what it looks like. We have a squeeze up, a breakdown, and it looks like it's going to consolidate for some time frame. Aluminum up 1%. Aluminum is looking quite strong. And that was the 12th of January is the last reading I have here. But this is a shoulder that's trying to put in with the break of the neckline. So that looks really good for aluminum. Baltic Dry Index looks like that's yesterday's pricing down 2.67. And this generally follows oil. Oil has seen some recent weakness, and we could see some more weakness in the Baltic Dry Index. This is a falling wedge, and generally falling wedges go and break to the upside, generally speaking. And this is Newcastle coal futures just chopping sideways. And right now that's kind of what's going on. We have not broken to the upside. We're just chopping sideways. Ethereum definitely getting that reversal candlestick. We'll put the candle there. Getting a little bit more of a selling pressure day. It's not a reversal candlestick. No reversal candlesticks. It still looks all right. And then Bitcoin's also selling off a little bit. We do have a little bit of wicks at the top, a little bit of selling pressure occurring the past 2 days. But that also looks okay. It looks fine. And we very well could pull back a little bit, guys. But that's not anything. It's not breaking anything. We just had a massive move, and I think it's going to have to consolidate that massive move. So that's what we're seeing today, guys. We are seeing some reversal candlesticks across the sectors and commodities. We might see a short-term pullback in a lot of these sectors. So get ready, be prepared for it, and we'll see how big the pullback is. We'll see what the selling strength is over the next few days. If there's not much selling strength and we reverse on higher, then yeah, it was just a selling pressure day with news being released. I think it was the producer price index that was released today. I can't remember what the pricing was. But I'm sure that inflation is definitely slowing down. Inflation is basically a growth rate, and that growth rate is slowing down. And I think that rates will come back down. We'll have disinflation. Completely agree with all that stuff. And then we'll see what the commodity prices do, which may or may not kick that inflation back on, and when that time frame is. And more than likely, what usually happens is, what I'm thinking, is interest rates will come back down. The housing market will kick back on, depending at some rate. I don't know which rate it'll kick it back on, but I think it'll kick it back on. And then inflation will moderate to some level of wherever that level is. So that's kind of what my guess is. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website. The Platinum membership. Use the word discount in the coupon code. Get yourself a discount. And I will be releasing a midweek update today. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.